My health was the reason I got started in cell phone repair and microsurgery. I actually was born with a slight birth defect in my lumbar area and then fell out of a truck on the road when I was little and broke my back, and nobody knew it until I was 14 and started having back problems. Doctors found pieces of my lumbar vertebrae, my L5 vertebrae, down in my tailbone area. Of course, they wanted to do surgery, and I was against it like a dummy, but I dealt with it until I was 29, off and on physical therapy, and then at 29, my lumbar area dislocated off my hip area, S1 area, and I was actually confined to a wheelchair. Spent 8 months in a wheelchair, and then 13 hours worth of reconstructive surgery with 2 surgeons, and another year worth of learning how to walk again. This was in early 2000, 2001, and in 2002, I went to work for Caterpillar under Americans with Disability Act, and I spent 10 years there. Well, in 2009, my doctors started telling me that you're going to have to find something else because you can't stand on your feet all day. I tried to figure out what I could do to provide for my family. It was just me as a single dad with 2 boys. That's when I started working on cell phones. I've always been good at repairing things, fixing things, even building things. So I started buying devices on eBay and places and growing my skill set, as mentioned in another video. I dealt with that issue. It continued up till about 2016. I went into the hospital to have a spinal stimulator implant done on my spinal cord to help block pain signals going to the brain because I was dealing with severe pain. During the surgery, it was supposed to be a 45-minute outpatient procedure. I died on the table and had to be resuscitated. So I woke up 4 hours later in the ICU. They were actually removing a ventilator, and I was coughing up blood, and I just was like, what happened? After a bunch of testing, they figured out that I have RA and had likely had RA for estimated 15 to 20 years prior, and nobody knew it. Nobody thought to check me for it. Started seeing a rheumatologist, and since it had went undiscovered for so long, it had gained in severity, and it was classed as stage 3 RA, and it was also attacking my internal organs and my eyes and actually causing brain fog issues. They started me on oral chemo weekly and a shot on my stomach every 2 weeks. Along with that, I was having issues with my heart, blood pressure, my heart rate would go up and down, my blood pressure would go up and down. I would actually pass out in the yard, just walking across the yard. And sitting in a recliner watching TV, my heart rate would be like 150, like I had been running for 10 miles. They sent me to a cardiologist, and he determined that my RA was actually attacking my nervous system also. So I added more medicine to my regimen. I dealt with that the best I could, and I still continued to work. I was running the store, still working, doing the best I could, even doing some part-time work on the side, even laying tile and fixing things for people in their houses, because I knew how to do that too. Doing anything I could to provide for my family. My health continued to decline, and I started choking. Every time I would eat, I would cough and gag and choke. Esophagus cancer is heavy in my family. They did a bunch of tests on my esophagus and did a biopsy and found out that I have a rare autoimmune disease called lymphocytic esophagitis, where my body is attacking the lower 1/3 of my esophagus, and most likely it's related back to the severity of my RA attacking my internal organs. On top of all that, in 2021, I had COVID and spent 6 months in the bed on full oxygen, and it took me another 6 months after that to even get enough strength to get around. Even now, I'm still classified as a COVID long hauler because it's damaged my lungs and it activated the dormant genetic clotting factor in my genes called factor V. It just in the past few months, I've had 5 different blood clots in my right leg. This is what actually ended the life of my grandfather. The blood clot in his leg that went to his lungs and killed him. So I had to be very careful. And the area in my leg that clots is the femoral vein, which feeds blood to the lungs. also have to take high doses of blood thinner along with the beta blockers and blood pressure medicines, and shot in my stomach every 2 weeks for my RA, and then oral chemo every Friday. And I have to take testosterone injections, a list of other medicines I have to take too. So all that's expensive, and it's got to the point to where the fatigue is just so great that I can't even hardly get out of bed. But when I finally do feel like getting up and moving around doing anything, I end up getting a clot in my leg, and then it puts me down again. It's a never-ending battle. I just pray I can get some sort of relief, because nothing I have, there's any cures for it. So it's symptoms management. It's all I can look forward to. And I see 5 different specialists. I welcome anybody that has any questions. How am I dealing with it? If you're dealing with something else, something similar, I'm more than happy to give advice. Something I do that might help you, some coping mechanism I have that might help you. Reach out. I'm happy to help. I can give that. When I can't give something else, I can give advice. God bless.